How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Eric Carlson here, running for Congress in the 1st Congressional District in Illinois. I want to do a video today. I've been hitting the campaign trail pretty hard, especially the last couple of days. I've been out talking to a lot of people, but I wanted to do this video around an instance that happened yesterday when I was out. I was out in Roseland, which is the neighborhood I was born in, but I was down on 104th and Halsted, and something happened, and I kind of picked up on it right as it was happening, but as I was walking away after the incident, I shouldn't even call it an incident because it was actually a good thing. But as I was walking away, it really struck me what had just happened. So I'll lay this out for you. Of course, I was in the neighborhood talking to people up and down. It was a little afternoon, and I was walking up to a church, and it was the Messiah Temple Baptist Church on 104th and Halsted. And I saw all the cars there, so I figured everybody was in church service. And I looked, checked the time to see, maybe they'd be getting out and I could talk to some people then. But I walked past, and then I saw there wasn't really anything further south on Halsted in the immediate area. So I decided to turn around and I walked back, and I was going up the block, and I figured I would come back when church services were over. But long story short, as I got across the street going north, I turned around, I heard some guys talking, and three gentlemen had come out of the church. They were obviously inside for the church services. And and right away I could tell that it was because, number one, I was white in that neighborhood, which is out of, little out of place being in that neighborhood, if you know anything about Chicago. So something didn't belong. Something wasn't right to them. And it kind of, like I said, I was, the interaction with the gentleman was very good, very polite. But it was afterwards when I was thinking, I'm like, they were actually somebody obviously saw me walk past and then walk past again, and I didn't think about walking past twice. But with what happened in Buffalo, the place that we're at in this country where people have to be worried about someone that doesn't look like them possibly doing something, I get entirely where they're coming from. So I want to talk about both the upside and the downside of what happened. So these guys came out. These guys were protectors. They were looking out for their people in their church, in their neighborhood. That's what we need more of. These guys came out. Three guys came out, and they spread themselves out. They came through parked cars. They did very tactically well done, gentlemen. I like that. I like that. So they came out. They were looking out. They were polite. They weren't confrontational. I walked up to them, introduced myself, gave them some business cards. They actually asked. They took a bunch more business cards to take in to give the congregation to put in the church. It was very, very pleasant encounter once we knew where we were. But the thing is, why are we in a spot in this country where people have to be so worried? And a lot of it is, and I talk about this in other videos, the division that has been sown by the people at the top. Yes, we do have mental health issues. Yes, you're always going to have people out there that are on the edge, and you need to work through mental health avenues, and people need to address these issues. And when you see something, say something is the motto. That's exactly what happened here. Somebody in the church saw me walk by, and I had this T-shirt on, so I wore this today so you could see. White guy with a black T-shirt. You don't know what this is. You don't know. It's a military symbol, but you don't know. But people at the top have divided the people so much that they're so suspicious of each other that this becomes a regular thing. And you could have someone like the shooter in Buffalo that, because of the division, because of the way the people talk, the rhetoric that goes on at the top, he gets it in his head. Now he's sitting in his, isolated in his own area, and he starts thinking this stuff and hearing things. So it starts at the top. If you start with this divisive talk, talking about how people need to be afraid of each other, and these people are coming to get you, and white supremacists are going to do this, and blacks are going to do this, and Latinos are going to do this. When you do that stuff, you create the problem. Like I said, I walk all over the cities, suburbs, out in the rural areas, talk to all kinds of people, every race, every ethnic background, every sexual orientation you can imagine. Not one person has ever been rude to me, and no one, I haven't had any arguments with anyone. We have discussions, and we may not agree on policies, but we all manage to get along. Um, so I wanted to go back to the three gentlemen. These guys are protectors, concerned citizens. Somebody in the church saw something, said something. These gentlemen came out to check on it, to protect their people and their neighborhood. That's what we need more of. That's what we need to end this crime that's going on in Chicago, and that's in other videos I discuss stuff like that. But the teamwork when these guys came out, and it was just on the fly. But like I said, I like their movement. I like their techniques. Good tactics, gentlemen. 2 thumbs up for that. Politeness. They're very polite right away. You know, you shook the guy's hands. They took the cards. They took them inside. They were just looking out for their people. That's it. But when you realize that you can't, somebody else might have got, worried or took that as an offense. I didn't. Absolutely not. And it's not because I'm white. It's because in that situation, what they did was they took the appropriate action. They took better safe than sorry action. Want to make sure something's out of place here. Me walking around. But again, the big question is, why are we here? And I think it starts with the people at the top. The people at the top who keep this narrative going. And I don't want to run a negative campaign. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm trying to run on the issues. But one thing that I would say is that a lot of folks in the first district, especially outside the city, look on, now Jonathan Jackson, I don't know the man personally. I don't know his heart. But his father has been a very divisive figure. On the one side, people say, he's a civil rights leader. But on the other side, you have a lot of people that think that he divides people along race to feather his own nest. And that's unfortunate. So when you have a divisive figure like that, that's not going to bring people together. You have to stop talking about, and I've seen some of Jonathan's speeches where he talks about, we need to go and we need to fight. Who are you fighting? Everybody talks about this fighting, and who are you fighting? That means you have to have an enemy. That means somebody is diametrically opposed to you. No, nobody's diametrically opposed to you. We may have different methods of getting to the same ends, but I think we all want the same things. So what I'm asking folks to do is please, check me out, look at my other videos, see what I'm about. I'm not a politician. I'm not taking money from anybody. I can't be bought. I'm going there to do what I think is best for everyone. I want to see this city succeed. I want to see everybody in this country well off. I want to see everyone have a bright future. This is a mission for me. I didn't have to do this. A lot of people are saying, why are you doing it? I can't stand to see the sacrifices that were made in this country by everyone who came before us. Whether, I've said this before, whether your ancestors were brought here against their will, or whether they fled from famine, war, disease, for whatever reason that your ancestors came here. All of our ancestors came here pretty much under duress. None of them came here because things were going swimmingly back home. So we have to, and I'm a historian, I love history. I love studying, especially firsthand accounts of people that, not the famous people, the everyday people who kept diaries and memoirs. If you read those, you really get a feel for what was going on at certain times in history. It's very important to know history, but you can't live in the past. Anybody who's talking about, when Bobby Rush did this anti-lynching bill, nobody's been lynched in the U.S. in over 50 years. You need to focus on where we are now. If we can't live in the now, we're never going to advance. It's important to know what happened in the past so it doesn't get repeated, and we can make adjustments going forward and say, hey, this didn't work in the past, that was tried, this was wrong, we got to watch out for this. But you can't live in the past. You're never going to get out of this. It's just going to be a cycle. But there's people that want to keep you there. There's people that want to keep us in this endless cycle of us versus them, to keep us divided. Like I said, when I go out and talk to people, we're not divided. Everybody wants pretty much the same things. and people can get along. When you leave people alone, people get along absolutely just fine. So I'll cut this here. I just want to thank the guys at the Messiah Temple Baptist Church yesterday for coming out, for doing their job, looking out for their people, and their politeness, the way they handle themselves, outstanding. That's what I want to see more of. That's what, when I'm elected into Congress, these are the folks that I'm going to be working with in the neighborhood, in the community, with the nonprofits to get the stuff done that I want to get done. Not just jobs, careers. And this is going to build back the entire neighborhood, the entire South Side. We can do this in a short order. We can do this. So I'm just asking you, please check me out, ericcarlsonforcongress.com and Eric Carlson for Congress on Facebook. And I'm also on Truth Social now, Eric Carlson for Congress on Truth Social, which is a new network. So please spread the word. Again, I don't have any money. I'm not asking people for money. This is all a word of mouth campaign. Thank you very much.